it's just like an important conversation to have because something I was thinking about earlier is I don't know if in the UK breast cancer awareness is as like much of a thing. If there's like a month for breast cancer awareness or anything like that, or if you guys ever wear ribbons or anything like. So yes, so yeah, here in the States that's a thing, and I hope I could say this in the right way because I don't want to come across the wrong way. But like as far as I'm aware, like people are aware of like breast cancer. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not something like you're walking down the street like, oh, have you ever heard of breast cancer? And they're like, oh no, I've never heard of breast cancer before. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like there's not really a stigma for like, oh, I have breast cancer. That people are like, oh, I'm going to stay away from you because I don't know how to interact with you if you have breast cancer, kind of a thing. And I think so. I'm not necessarily trying to say that mental health awareness is more important. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think it is something that people need more educating on because as you and I have both experienced, when someone is going through a mental health crisis and the people around them aren't informed on what's happening, they don't know what the proper response or reaction is to those things. So I wonder, do you think would that be a good lead-off point to when we both first started experiencing like mental difficulties that we knew were like beyond the regular like adolescence like drama or whatever? You know what I'm saying?
I'll let you go first. So
But, yeah. So for me, I think I want to say like the end of 8th grade, like that. So the beginning of high school, end of 8th grade. I don't know. What is that in the UK? I don't know how y'all do your school.
But
so I'm like,
how old are you in 8th grade?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
So in 8th grade, I am. All right, wait. Let me count backwards. So senior year of high school, you're 18. Junior year, 17. Sophomore year, 16. Freshman year, 15. So 8th grade, I'm like 14. So 14.
Okay.
So that when.
Yes. Year 8 with year 9 class, so similar.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Cool. So yeah, that's when that's when I first started experiencing like sadness that wasn't just like a regular like, oh, something bad happened, so I feel sad. It was I felt sad, but then I also just like lost motivation. I felt like my energy was lower at times. I wanted to sleep more, and as a way to like cope with the mental like anguish that I was feeling. So I just kind of like I don't want to have to like deal with this day. If that makes sense. Like waking up in the morning, I wasn't like excited like, oh, I get to go play soccer with my friend to do this. It was like, no, I'd rather just stay in bed. I don't really enjoy doing much, kind of a thing. And I believe we've talked about this before in terms of like a nature versus nurture kind of a thing. So for me, the like external events that were causing me to feel down where I was playing soccer very competitively at my age. And so not in like a braggy way, but just to like paint the picture of like the level of soccer I was playing, is here in the U.S. So like the state of Texas is like 5 hours away from where I live. And so at that time, only like 2 people from the soccer team that I was playing on, we got selected to go all the way to Texas to try out for the youth national team.
Wow.
For soccer. So yeah, so like that was like a big deal for me, you know, like especially at that time because I love soccer. I still love soccer now, but definitely back then I was like, yo, I have dreams of being a professional soccer player, you know, and definitely being Nigerian. Like even I was just talking to one of my cousins the other day, and she was saying, "Oh, are you still playing football?" She's like, "Uncle told me you're still playing football," because they're like, "Oh yeah, we're rooting for you." I'm like, "Yeah, nah, I'm not playing football." And what happened, and why I couldn't play football anymore, is because I had this back injury, back pain, whatever, like a lingering back pain that just wouldn't go away. Like I went to physical therapy, I saw an orthopedist, I went to all these different treatment options, a chiropractor, but we couldn't like pinpoint like why is my back in so much pain. So to fast forward the timeline a little bit, so we're talking about 8th grade. So fast forward to freshman year, a year later, I eventually had to stop.
I think the screen's frozen. Like.
Oh, my screen or?
Yeah, on my end. Can you guys see him fine? Just wondering if it's just me. Okay.
I wonder if
put a thumbs up if you can see him. Oh yeah, it's better now.
Oh, it's better now?
Yeah. Carry on, sorry. Mm-hmm.
No, you good. That's important. Technical difficulty.
Yeah.
So, yada. Okay, so then so freshman year I had to make the decision that I'm no longer going to be able to play because the soccer team I played was called an academy team. Y'all have academies. So, but I don't know how it works in England, but here you have to pay money to pay for the academy team, like thousands of dollars a year to pay for the academy team. But thankfully for me, again, just to paint the picture, I was good enough that they gave me a scholarship, so they let me play for free on the academy team because my family can't afford to pay that money. But so I felt bad because I'm like, oh, they let me play for free, but I can't play now because of my back, yada. So I had to tell them, like, I can't play anymore. So with that, it just, like, diminished my chances of eventually being professional. So that, that just, like, weighed me down and so really discouraged, disappointed. But that's the thing. From that point on, I never really recovered in terms of having like the same like joy or like consistent joy that I used to have. So that's the thing. Going all throughout high school and entering into college, I was thinking, oh, I'm just really disappointed that my soccer dreams are being taken away from me, and like family issues. Like I was always like thinking, oh, these are just all external factors that are weighing on me. I wasn't aware that it was like those, but as well as a combination of this undiagnosed mental condition, known as we can go to talk about what we want to call the labels. But yeah, I was unaware of that was also contributing to that. So I'll stop there. But yeah, that's when I first started to notice was 8th grade and like the whole soccer situation. So.
Oh man, that's a lot actually at that age because you know you saw a career path, you know, with that and that was taken away from you. So speak as well. Was there other, like you said, there was family issues. There were other things going on as well. And this is the thing. Have you heard of the stress and vulnerability cup?
No, I don't think so.
No, but like basically what my therapist nurse, mental health nurse explained to me is like everyone doesn't mean you necessarily had a mental health condition beneath it. Like everyone's got a level of vulnerability, of stress vulnerability that you can handle. So with a lot of stress in there, depending on the size of your vulnerability cup, is when you will have an outpouring of a breakdown or mental health problem.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So that, yeah.
No, I was just gonna say. So, like, have you heard of like pain tolerance levels? So is that kind of just like an illustration of that? Like everyone's like threshold is like different of what they can handle, kind of a thing.
So yeah, so that's amazing. So how did you? What age did you start realizing you needed support for that kind of thing? Did you try and express that with your friends? How did it go?
Oh wait, as you said that just made me think of a major thing too. Yeah. I was also blaming myself for my back pain at that time, and while I was blaming myself, and this could be kind of I don't think it should be a touchy subject, maybe kind of awkward, but hey, we're keeping it real on this IG. It's just like growing up, I struggled a lot with porn use, with pornography. So and like growing up in a Christian household, I felt just a lot of shame about that as well. I'm like, yo, God, I promise I'm trying to be pure, but this is like a big temptation for me. And I was also exposed to that like really early, like when I was in like 3rd grade or something. So when I was like 8 or 9 or so, I was like the first time I was exposed to that. So I was like, I kind of felt like, wait, is God like punishing me? Like, because I'm unable to stop doing this thing. So, yeah, so there's a lot of like guilt and and shame that went along with that. So when you mentioned when did I realize like I needed to reach out to someone, was I think probably freshman year as well. Maybe like towards the end of freshman year, I wanted to talk to my pastor about it because I didn't really know who else to really talk about it. Because I should also mention at that time I didn't know that was a very regular thing for a teenage boy to be like struggling with. So I felt so like awkward and like alone, and I'm like, I feel like if I tell someone, they're gonna look at me like I'm so weird. And,
are you
like, you know what I'm saying?
boy in your family? Sorry.
I'm the only boy in my family. I have an older sister. She's 3 years older than me. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I talked to my pastor, and my pastor was a woman pastor, which is awesome, but it just didn't make it easy for me to be able to like have that conversation with her.
Okay.
So that was the first time though that I realized, or like I tried to reach out to someone.
What did she do? Did she pray the demons out of you? What? What happened?
Pretty close. So she did. There was a lot of prayer. She just prayed that like the Holy Spirit would give me the strength to overcome that temptation, and she was pretty cool. Like she opened up to me too. She's like, "Yo, when I was younger, I struggled with that too."
Oh, wow.
Yada yada yada. So that was awesome, but she just kind of told, she's like, yeah, just like when the temptation comes, like just pray, God will help you, etc. So like she meant really well, but that didn't help though. Like I was like, I'm over here and I'm praying, but it's not really doing much for me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh wait, side note, you'll see that you're stupid. Now my friend is at Niger. What's up, Sina?
Hello. I can't see any comments. I swear, I think it's my reception in here. I live in the woods somewhere. There's not.
You live in the boondocks. That's crazy.
There's literally nothing. Like I can't see any comments. I can't see anything. But hey ho, it's okay. You can just tell me what everyone's saying.
I got you.
Perfect. Oh wow. So thanks for sharing that.
No problem. So how about you? When was the first time you felt like a different type of mental like disturbance than like regulars?
I don't know. I'm really scared to like say it.
Whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah. Oh my days. I don't know if I can.
Don't.
But I'd say about 12 or 13. Yeah. So. But it all like I had an argument with my mum or something. I don't know exactly what happened. But I was like on 12 or 13, like I tried to take my own life. Basically. That was a like big what the hell was that moment for me, because I was like, huh?
If I may interject, do you know what was like going on in your mind at the time that made you?
I just felt like I was really upset and hurt, and with the argument that we had, I don't know who he was with. I just went to the bathroom and I was on my own. And I was like, I just don't want to be there. Like, what would happen if I died? Like, I just want to go. So that's what was going through my head. But like, I feel like in African family households, it's like vulnerability is not really encouraged or allowed. It's like, what have you got reason to be sad for? Oh, what are you crying for? Do you know what I mean? It's not, you're not really going to get that sort of consolation from your family. So I always kept everything to myself. And I think that's when that happened. And then like it was summer holiday. I didn't like the class I was in school. So then I remember like telling my teacher I didn't like it. Didn't really have friends in that class, whatever. Like I remember I fell out majorly with someone, with a group of them. So then, because they put me in like one of like the lower sets of the year, and I think it was just because I didn't come from a Catholic primary school. So I was literally just put in the group, like, whatever. So I just felt like I wasn't to be challenged in class as well. My teacher picked that up and was like, okay, if you do these exams, you work hard, we'll move you forward. So I did that, and then I moved. I was like, yeah. From then, I felt a little bit control in my life, and I felt like, okay. And that's the first time I remember praying to God, because it was like summer holiday. I was like, okay, I've moved class. I'll pray that I'm just gonna be happy. Like first time I verbalized that to God, I'm gonna be happy. So I guess that's me acknowledging I wasn't. And then I tried to keep it up. I think I tried my best as I could. Moving to a new class and stuff brought its own challenges. You know, I moved up to top set, basically, from those exams. I didn't really feel better. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't make that big change in me that I thought it would. But then, nonetheless, I just felt like you have to choose happiness. And for a while, it worked. So I felt I put on a persona. I've always been this happy, bubbly person. Like, everyone would just tell you that I'm this happy, bubbly person. But I knew I wasn't. Like, my family knew I was different. I'd go home, like, yeah. I'd get really, really upset about things. And growing up, like, I think my family just always thought, oh, she just has a bad temper. So, like you're saying, maybe there was these underlying diagnosis of mental health problem, but it wasn't recognised. I didn't recognise it myself. And then towards the end of like school, I just lost interest as well. Well, not as well as him, but I lost interest. Like someone who was always getting awards and top grades and stuff, to now always going to detention. And like my teachers just had to like intervene. They're all like scratching their heads like, what's going on? Has she got a new boyfriend or something that's like changed, like made me disinterested in school and stuff? But yeah, like I said, I remember feeling like, I thought it was because I was up on the phone all the time, that during the day I'd sleep all through the day or just sleep at every opportunity I could get. So like college time, secondary school time, that's when it started, and then it just all compounded again. And with loads of other stresses, I had.
Wait, secondary school? What age?
Secondary school is from 11 till 16. So from 12 till onwards, that's when I think I started noticing what was going on. So, yeah.
And then, when was the first time you realized that I need help with this, and what was that like the first time you actually did reach out?
Do you know what? I was really stubborn. If I'm honest, really stubborn. So I never